Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to everyone. Since it is our first class for this week and we are conducting it online again, I hope you still can give your full attention just like the previous year where we are struggling with online class and assessment. Without further ado, my name is Zakuan Aiman and I will be explaining the definition and the history of Baroque music. So, what is the meaning of Baroque exactly? I bet most of you haven't heard the word Baroque before, right? No worries, because I am here to share with you the definition of Baroque. So, basically, the word Baroque is derived from the bizarre word Barocco in Italian. Now, we can conclude that it comes from Italy. Let's look deeper into the history of Baroque music. According to Pyri, 2017, Baroque music was created between the Renaissance and the Classical eras from 1600 to 1750. This music makes up the most of the classical canon. Throughout the 1700s, the Baroque style spread throughout Europe, with notable Baroque composers appearing in Germany, Italy, France, and England. As you can see, Baroque music was spreading to 3 different nations, and the style of Baroque varied from each nation. Moreover, Monteverdi, Corelli, and Vivaldi are just a few of the well-known figures from the early Baroque era that are born in Italy. By now you are able to know and imagine on how Baroque music was introduced, right? I guess that's all from me for now, because I will be seeing you on the next part, which I want to share on how you can improve your quality of your sleep by listening to Baroque music.
Hi and Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Siti Nur Nabilah binti Masromzi and you can call me as Nabilah. So, let us continue with the characteristic of Baroque music. Okay, the Baroque period 1600 until 1750 saw music become more expressive, emotional and exuberant. Paliska 2001 claims that 2 cultural and intellectual changes during the Baroque period influenced music, which are the rise of the middle class and also the interest in nature and humanism. The rise of the middle class increased the public consumption of music other than church and court, such as opera. The composer used various music techniques which including the tonal organization, modulation and basso continue to arouse emotion due to their interest in nature and also humanism. Baroque music is characterized by the use of contrast as dramatic element. What is contrast? Contrast is an important component of Baroque composition drama. The distinction between loud and soft, dynamic, tempo, fast or slow, meter, texture, for example, small group or orchestra interplay in a concerto grosso, and the use of homophony, major or minor tonality and timbre with the development of new instruments like as violin, trumpet, flute, oboe and timpani. Next, a piece of music used to consist of a single melody or several melodies played simultaneously. Until the Baroque music, however, the energy or movement found in the artwork could be found in vibrant rhythm that provided continuous rhythmic drive, expressive melodies, the use of sequence and imitation, contrast in music movement within a work, contrapuntal composition techniques, and ornamentation. According to Estrada and May in 2019, another feature of Baroque music was the tendency for a single music piece to project a distinct melodic idea, mood, or expression of feeling. The realistic image, stories, and scripture used in Baroque music, such as Vivaldi's Four Seasons and Bach cantatas, opera, and oratorios, demonstrate realism.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. I am Syuzwani binti Saidi and I will continue our presentation with composers of Baroque music. The Baroque era gave rise to many composers whose works are still regularly played. Most of the popular composers of Baroque music came from Italy, German, French, and also Britain. This slide shows the example of composers from each countries. According to Wobble 2005, Giuseppe Torelli, Alessandro Scarlatti, and Antonio Vivaldi are among 10 Italian composers who are probably known best today in the order of their year of birth. Giuseppe Torelli was an Italian violinist, teacher, and composer. Alessandro Scarlatti was Italian composer of operas and religion works. Antonio Vivaldi was also composer and violinist who left a decisive mark on the form of the concerto and the style of late Baroque instrumental music. For German composers, we have Georg Philipp Telemann, Johann Sebastian Bach, and Georg Friedrich Handel as examples. According to Hammond 2016, they expand Baroque music throughout Europe. While in France, we have two big names such as Jean-Baptiste Lully and André Champra. In 1672, King of France charged Lully with establishing the Royal Academy of Music. Lastly, in Britain, we have Henry Purcell and Orlando Gibbons. Therefore, we can conclude that all the composers from different countries had given huge contribution towards Baroque music during its era until now. We have many examples of instruments in Baroque music. The instruments were used in the harmonies and for holding the ensemble together. This presentation today will highlight 4 types of instruments, which are strings, brass, woodwind, percussion, and keyboard instruments. All the types instruments play an important role in producing Baroque music. The composers will choose the suitable instruments they want to use in their orchestra songs. The example for string instruments were violin, viola, cello, and double bass. The bass line was often played by the cello. Next, the trumpet is an example of a brass instrument. The example for woodwind instruments are flute and oboe. Next, the timpani is an example for percussion instrument. The timpani drum produces a deep, resonant sound with a variable pitch. Last type was the keyboard, with the harpsichord and organ as example. The harpsichord is a keyboard instrument where the strings are plucked. The plucked string of the harpsichord have a rich sound where it creates multiple independent melody lines that also sound harmonious when played together.
Hello, Assalamualaikum everyone. I am Zainey Azneyra binti Zainudin. Let's continue our presentation. In modern times, going to a concert is an event. We hear an ad on the radio or see a listing in the newspaper. We purchase a ticket, we go to a concert hall and sit quietly until it is time to applaud. In the Baroque era, this kind of public concert was very rare. Many of the most famous Baroque compositions were performed in church for a service or as part of a private concert or celebration in the home of a wealthy patron. During the course of the Baroque, however, public performances became more common, particularly in the genres of opera and oratorio, and our modern concert tradition began to coalesce in many European cities. The advent of the public concert made the growing middle class an important source of income for musicians. By the end of the Baroque, this social subset had become a musical patron almost as powerful as the church or court.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Aina Athirah binti Juhari, and now I will continue with the genre and examples of Baroque music. Basically, there are two main types of Baroque, which are vocal form and instrumental music. Baroque music developed the vocal genres of the solo concerto and sonata, as well as the mixed vocal and instrumental forms of opera, cantata, and oratorio. So the only instrumental music that I will cover are sonata, concerto, and overture. So there are no vocal in the instrumental music genre. The first genre is the vocal genre. Vocal is a genre of singing in which the singing is the primary emphasis of the composition. It can be performed by one or more singers with or without musical accompaniment, or known as a cappella. Vocal music typically contains sung words called lyrics. Additionally, extended vocal styles like yodeling, throat singing, growling, and screaming may be employed. The first vocal form is opera. Opera is a stage drama set to music in its entirety. So it is made up of vocal pieces with instrumental accompaniment and usually with orchestral overtures and interludes. For example, musical theatre. For example, the famous composer of opera is George Friedrich Handel, titled Giulio Cesare in Egitto. Giulio Cesare in year 1724. Now, let's watch the opera vocal Baroque. Next is oratorio. Oratorio is a large musical composition for an orchestra, choir, and soloist, which is strictly a concert piece. The most famous oratorio in the Baroque era was also from the same composers as opera. George Friedrich Handel composed Messiah, which is a sacred oratorio in the year 1741. Let's watch the oratorio Baroque. The last main vocal genre is cantata. Cantata is a vocal composition with an instrumental accompaniment, typically including several movements, often involving a choir. A Baroque cantata is a piece of music for vocals or voices and instruments. However, Baroque cantata suites for solo instrument as well as orchestra. The famous composer of cantata is Johann Sebastian Bach. An example of cantata is Wie schön leuchtet der Morgenstern, means how lovely shines the morning star, in 1599. Sorry, I cannot speak German very well. So now, let's listen to the video of Cantata Baroque. The second main genre is musical instrument, or known as instrumental music. The second main genre consists of 3 examples, which are sonata, concerto, and overture. The first one is sonata. But this one is not the winter sonata from Korea. It's a totally different thing. The word sonata itself means that it is a piece to be played rather than sung. Most sonatas after the Baroque era are played by a solo instrument, most frequently a keyboard instrument. So it is refers to such a piece of 1 or 2 instruments, such as, for example, Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata in the year 1801 for piano and Johann Sebastian Bach Cello Suite No. 1, 1717 to 23. More than one instrument that is accompanied by a keyboard is Violin Sonata in E minor by Mozart in the year 1778. Now, let's watch the video of Sonata Baroque. Let's go! The next musical instrumental Baroque is the concerto. Concerto is an orchestra and a soloist or group of soloists perform a concerto, which is a large-scale work. An example of a concerto is Ripino Concerto, composed in 1740 by Antonio Vivaldi, Giuseppe Torelli, and Tommaso Albinoni. Now, let's listen to the Concerto Baroque. Last musical instrument is overture, originally the instrumental introduction to a ballet, opera, or oratorio. Word overture comes from a French word that means opening, because the purpose of this overture is to open the show. One example of overture is from George Friedrich Handel on 1685 to 1759, which titled Overture to Alessandro. Now, let's listen to overture musical instrument Baroque. Let's go!
Hi everyone, so we meet here again. So let us continue with the application of Baroque music. There are so many applications of Baroque music in our life. Okay, for example, like studying and learning, sleeping, and also for healing and relaxation. Okay, so my part, I will present to you the application of Baroque music in learning and studying. Baroque music is defined as a music created between Renaissance and Classical eras between 1600 and 1750, and it comprises the majority of the classical music canon. Baroque music is almost always used as background music while studying or learning. It is widely acknowledged that the effectiveness of Baroque music has an impact on certain aspects such as learning efficiency. Some studies or research findings have demonstrated the use of application of Baroque music in learning and studying. So, let us see. To begin, Hariyatun Nisa Ahmad 2020 writes in her article, using Baroque music to improve reading comprehension skills, that the goal of this research is to improve student reading comprehension skill through classroom action research (CAR). This study was carried out in 3 cycles, each of which included planning, implementation, and reflection. Nowadays, students still struggle to find main ideas, make inference or identify story element in language learning. As a result, the researchers and teachers attempt to improve student reading comprehension skills with Baroque music-based learning, which was evidenced by an increase in the student reading comprehension score in the pre-test, with 40% of the students reaching the class average score. It rose from 20% to 60% in the first cycle, 13.33% to 73.33% in the second, and 60.67% to 90% in the third. As a result, reading activities in learning accompanied by Baroque music can increase student motivation and interest in reading, as well as their concentration, which increase their understanding of the text content. Next, an article titled "The Effect of Baroque Music Exposure on Students During Narrative Test Writing", published in 2018 by Iqbal Fatwa Resmana and Anita Angreni, deduced that exposure to Baroque music during the narrative writing activity has a positive effect on 66% of the participants. It aids in their relaxation and emotional well-being and eventually influence their brain activity to produce imaginary visions. This study aims to investigate the effect of Baroque music exposure on students during narrative writing, and it is motivated by a popular belief about the Mozart effect, which is thought to boost human intelligence and performance in cognitive tasks. This study was conducted in a qualitative format because it will describe any possible effect of Baroque music played during the student performance in a cognitive activity, which is writing narrative. Finally, most people may find it relaxing to listen to Baroque music as background music. It may also help some people concentrate in academic situations. This suggests that listening to music, in this case Baroque music, may be more beneficial for relaxation. Nonetheless, background music, in this case Baroque music, during creative writing activity has a unique effect of providing listeners with imaginary vision unconsciously. Last but not least, an article written in 2014 by Rongo, Zizang, Zonhuzao and Mezotong titled "The Baroque Music Influence on Learning Efficiency," based on the research of eye movement, analyzed the trajectory with or without a Baroque musical background and studied the variation of the subject abilities of attention, observation, and memory. The researchers discovered that when subjects have a musical background, their trial duration and average fixation decrease, while their average saccade amplitude increases. As a result, Baroque music can boost learning efficiency. Another article by the same authors, "The Baroque Music's Influence on Learning Efficiency Based on Brain Cognitive Research," look at the effect of Baroque music on learning state from the standpoint of electroencephalogram (EEG) analysis. Before and after listening to Baroque music, electroencephalogram (EEG) data were collected. The frequency, energy, FF waste distribution, SCAP, even related potential and other parameters are then compared. The experimental result shows that listening to Baroque music improves learning efficiency. As a result, teachers can use Baroque music to aid teaching as a reform tool, providing an effective way to improve learning efficiency and teaching quality.
Hi, so we meet again. In this part, I will be explaining on how Baroque music can improve your sleep quality, especially for students that sometimes have problem of sleeping due to lots of stress from the upcoming assignment. Without further ado, let's look at the first point. Sleep quality is very important factors in quality of life. Sleep disorder may result in fatigue, tiredness, depression, and problem in daytime functioning. This is a serious problem that some of us face nowadays, and I hope my part in this presentation helps you. Next, this study was conducted by Laszlo, Johanna, and Robert, and the aim of their study was to investigate the effect of music on sleep quality in young participants with poor sleep. The method they used to conduct this study was simply by giving a CD from members of the music group containing classical music, and they were asked to accept or refuse the music collection. No participant refused it. The music was a collection of relaxing classical music, including some popular pieces from the Baroque to Romantic music. This is the first study to show that music improves sleep quality by controlling for the confounding effect of relaxation and positive expectation. Students who listen to sedative classical music for 45 minutes at bedtime for 3 weeks had better global sleep quality in the second and the third week than those who did not. So there you have it, a trustworthy study that you can follow to improve your quality of your sleep. Next, the improvement continued during the third week and was greater at the end of the study. Other than that, several studies conducted in clinical settings have suggested that sedative music can have positive effect on sleep via muscle relaxation and distraction from thoughts.
The next application for Baroque music is for healing and relaxation. Much research was conducted that involved the use of Baroque music to test for healing and relaxation among people. Let's take a look at the research finding. The title for first research finding is The Effect of Bach Music Towards Simple Reaction Time and Vital Sign. Bach music in this research refer to the Baroque music from famous composers, which is Johann Sebastian Bach. Bach music is composed of fluctuating tones between high notes and low notes, which stimulate the brain by causing alpha wave. It has been demonstrated that alpha wave can be employed as therapeutic technique. According to Sherwood 2013, as cited in Limyati et al. 2019, music with alpha wave can be obtained through slow tempo music, such as from 60 to 80 beats per minute. So, this will help the body condition relax, calm, and brain can improve the attention and short-term memory. So, the purpose of this study is to determine the effect of listening to Bach music towards simple reaction time and vital sign, which are blood pressure and heart rate. The study design is quasi-experimental with a pre- and post-test design. Blood pressure, heart rate, and simple reaction time are compared before and during listening to Bach music. The result shows that the blood pressure and heart rate was decreased after and during listening to Bach music. The result also shows the simple reaction to light after listening to Bach music is faster compared before listening to the music. The second research finding is role of music in intensive care medicine. This is a review article that was conducted by Hans-Joachim Treck in 2012. In intensive care medicine, music is significant. It is well known that soothing and soft sound benefit patients that receiving intensive care. It can help to reduce pain and stress. The most beneficial music for the health of a patient is classical music, which hold an important role in music therapy. Bach and the other Italian composers is the most powerful in treating patients. It is possible to select the ideal therapy for cardiovascular disturbance, recreation, and refreshment of the immune system, improvement of concentration, and help with depression. Besides, the meditation music with slow tempo and soft sound also has sedative effect. The third research finding for healing and relaxation application is effect of music therapy on depression compared with psychotherapy. Depression is a chronic disorder that affects anyone of any age. Electroconvulsive therapy, psychotherapy, and medication treatment are the three main efficient treatment for depression. Music therapy is the planned use of music to achieve therapeutic outcome. So, this study is to compare the effect of music therapy and psychotherapy in a group of subjects with low and medium level of depression. The music therapy group was exposed to a selection of Baroque and classical music. The Baroque music the researcher chose was Johann Sebastian Bach Italian Concerto in F major. The finding indicates that music therapy group showing better improvement, not only decrease the frequency of depressive symptoms, but also stimulate beneficial feelings and decrease level of depression.
Hi, we meet again. Now, I will explain the teacher's guideline on how to implement Baroque music. Teacher guidelines are very important and crucial in order to implement music during teaching and learning activities. Did you know that exposure to music can improve learning and increase a positive classroom atmosphere? This is from the articles by Paivi Cisco Urola and Thomas Urola in 2013, titled Extended Music Education Enhances the Quality of School Life. When teachers effectively integrate music into their lesson, it may be an effective and creative approach to engage students and enhance the curriculum, depending on the strengths and weaknesses of the students in the classroom. The impact of music in the classroom may be different. The first guideline for a teacher is to introduce and welcome students to music. Firstly, teachers need to introduce the students to music by starting to ask them simple questions. For example, do you love listening to music while studying? What is your favorite music? And many more. Listening to music also prepares the brain for a wide variety of significant cognitive activities based on University of Washington researchers in 2016. The first step is very important as it is to ensure that students will be as interested in the subject as they should be from the start. So that is why it is important for the next teacher guidelines to introduce the history behind the music. The history of music can attract students to pay more attention to the benefit behind it. So the third guideline is that teacher need to make sure to maintain the mood of the class using music. Next, the fourth guideline is using music to memorize activities. The teacher needs to consider the type of music to be used during the memorizing activity. Baroque music's instrumental genre can be used during the memorizing activity. So, instrumental genre is the most suitable genre for the memorizing. So the teacher need to keep the volume low because this means you should still have the ability to speak without raising your voice. The music should be in the background, creating a filter for unwanted noise in the classroom throughout the day. So this creates the body relaxed and mind alert states. So the last guideline for a teacher is the teacher can set up the class discussion with music. It can boost focus among the students so that the discussion activities will be going smoothly. So to finalize, teacher guidelines need to be followed in order to integrate music into the classroom. Students acquire new information more fully when they use multiple sensory systems to interact with it. So this process is known as multimodal learning. In other words, bringing a rich aural channel to a task that is mostly visual by connecting related music or song to it to improve their learning. So that's all from me.
There are many advantages of Baroque music in learning. One of them is Baroque music sparks creativity in learning. In a journal titled The Effect of Baroque Music Exposure on Students During Writing Narrative Texts, written by Iqbal Fatwa Reswana and Anita Anggreni in June 2018, stated that the exposure of Baroque music during the narrative writing activity gives positive effect on 66% of the participants. It is also stated that background music could give relaxation to most people. This indicates that the exposure of music might be more useful for relaxation purpose rather than as a companion for teaching and learning activities in the classroom. Background music, such as Baroque music during creative activity, has unique effect to provide imaginary vision unconsciously to the listeners. Other than that, Baroque music has been proven that it can improve learning efficiency. Based on the article titled The Baroque Music's Influence on Learning Efficiency, based on the research of the eye movement, it is stated that the Baroque music can stimulate the increase of learning efficiency. Through the experiments, they found out that in Baroque musical background, the learning efficiency can be improved. This is mainly because the Baroque music is a special kind of music. It can stable mood, let the brain into the alpha band of brainwave. The subject's attention, observation, reading ability are improved. This study provides evidence for further study of improving the learning efficiency through music. Baroque music can improve learning efficiency, and the persons who like Baroque music can improve their learning efficiency much faster. The reason may be the subjects who like Baroque music more easily immerse into the Baroque music rhythm. This can induce more alpha wave, promote the secretion of endorphin. The brain can get into an active state more easily, thus the learning efficiency is improved greatly. Next, Baroque music can give a significant positive effect on mathematics learning achievement. Based on the article titled Elementary School Students' Mathematical Intelligence based on mathematics learning using classical music of the Baroque music era as the background. They used the classical music of Baroque era as the background during mathematics learning. The results show that the use of classical music of Baroque era during the learning of mathematics gave a high contribution to the mathematical intelligence of 5th grade elementary school students. The students' mathematical intelligence can be seen in the cognitive abilities, which were at the high level of the knowledge up to analysis, and at the low level in the synthesis and evaluation. Low mathematical intelligence was shown by students in calculating amount and difference of time and projecting word problem into the form of mathematical problems. High mathematical intelligence arose in reading and writing integers in words and numbers. Thus, the mathematical intelligence of 5th grade elementary school students will be better if classical music of Baroque era is used as the background in the mathematics learning about solving mathematics problems. Despite of all of the advantages of Baroque music in learning, there are also disadvantages of Baroque music in learning. Baroque music can be a distraction to some people. This is proven by a research titled the effect of Baroque music exposure on students during writing narrative texts. The findings of the article shown that the exposure of Baroque music during the narrative writing activity gives positive effects to 66% of the participants. However, 34% of the participants consider that music as a distraction to their activity and reducing their concentration in learning. Based on my research, I can conclude that Baroque music is not for all. There are some advantages of Baroque music, but not all people can use Baroque music in learning because it can be a distraction to some people. Thank you.